Well guys, Manli GPUs, are they a scam? Are they just another Chinese brand that used up refurbished GPUs that flashes a different BIOS on them to sell them to you? Well, let's get started with the video discussing if you should buy a GPU from this brand because they are quite a bit cheaper in Europe than other cards, to be honest, and also in the US as far as I know. So it is a reputable brand. It actually has been around for a while, since 1996, and if you're wondering why you may not have heard of them, well, it's because they are actually part of an umbrella brand which has Zotac, Inno3D and Manli. They are all under the same umbrella company, and as far as I know, the cards are also made in the same production line, which is why up until a few generations ago, Manli was known for their green cards. They were basically just green with this military look, and their lower end line was the Manli, and then they had the Manli Gallardo, like the Lamborghini, which was their higher end model, and it was again very cool looking. They had some unique design features which maybe may appeal a bit more to the Asian market. I'm gonna agree with you on this. A lot of people were buying them just for the aesthetics, me included. I've also put one in a white build because I think the contrast would look nice. They have actually always been pretty good cards. Again, I have made a dedicated video about Zotac and a dedicated video about Inno3D. Now, the crazy thing is the different perception that people have about those brands, because Zotac is seen as a cheaper brand, but people consider it as one of the mainstream brands, like Gigabyte, MSI, Asus, right? But Manli and Gallardo are considered a bit lower end, but in fact they are the same kind of brand. They share the same PCBs pretty much, just the cooler is designed differently. But now, why was I talking in the past tense when I was discussing the color? Well, because now if you go on their website, they launched a new sub-brand, and they are also now making white cards to appeal at the rapidly increasing demand for white GPUs. Basically, in 2024, everybody wants a white PC with a white GPU, and so they're making some as well, but still maintaining some very unique design elements which are not found in, for example, a Zotac RTX 4090 white Trinity, for example. They are very much different. But again, we can see how they are under the same brand, because it's the exact same thing that Inno3D with their iChill white has been doing. So they are all been shifting towards white GPUs while maintaining the unique design characteristics. And the brand difference are just marketing wise, because they are basically the same card. Now, I am a bit exaggerating. It's not exactly the same card as Zotac, Inno3D and Manli, but you kind of get the gist. Aside from looking very unique, the cooler is actually pretty good. They have thick heatsinks on par with other brands, pretty good thermal pads. The backplates are active backplates. They're not there just for show. And even though they have all those strange things with like water inside on the side, the design is actually pretty high build quality if you actually hold the card in your hands. The I/O as well is pretty normal. They have HDMIs and DisplayPort outputs like any other card would. And some of them even have the magic turbo button, which allows you to actually increase the performance of the card just by clicking on it. It is supposed to be a BIOS switch button, by the way. Now, the only maybe little issue is going to be LED control. So of course, if you buy an Asus ROG Strix card, you have Aura Sync, which is pretty good for LEDs. This one, they have their own proprietary software, which is kind of strange, but it works well. So again, my recommendation in the Inno3D video is pretty much the same here, which is the only issue you're gonna have if you buy a Manli card in Europe or in the US is gonna be a bit longer support times, because this is a card meant mainly for the Asian market. So here you're gonna have to send them to one of your distributors if you have a problem, and then they're gonna send it back to China or where they have to send it, and it's gonna take 45 to 50 days for an RMA if you have any issue. However, if you do buy one from a reputable distributor, which will first-hand replace the card for you, which is also what they should be doing by law, at least in Europe, then you're gonna be fine. So that's not really a big deal. You don't have warranty on the used market, even if you buy an Asus ROG Strix card. So if you're gonna buy a used GPU, and if you find a Manli Gallardo GPU which you like, you find it look nice, then definitely buy it. There's really no reason why you shouldn't, actually. Also because many of these are imported in Europe and in the US inside pre-builds. Those GPUs are usually stressed less than other GPUs which may have been bought for mining or used for a workstation application. You know, if you're buying one off a pre-build, which some kid used to play Fortnite, the card is pretty much gonna be brand new. Now, one little issue in the long term, if you're gonna do maintenance, is they don't always use standard thermal pads. But again, There are ways around that. You can just use a more soft thermal pads and just get away with it. The paste they use is pretty good. Out of the box temperature is surprisingly good. Again, I made a full video with a Manli Gallardo card. If you want to go watch it, you can go take a look. And it performs absolutely great. It overclocks great, like on par as other brands, because silicon purity is not determined by the manufacturer. And also, on the contrary, Asus really bins their card because they have a lot of tiers of GPUs. So they're, like, for example, you can buy a TUF RTX 4090, you can buy a Strix RTX 4090, a Strix OC, and even the Matrix RTX 4090. But what it means is if you're buying a TUF card, it's not going to overclock as well as the Matrix because Asus does some binning internally. But if you buy a Manli card, they don't have anything higher. So if you just buy a Gallardo, you might find a card with a silicon purity and silicon quality as high as a Matrix on Asus would be. In terms of strictly silicon, then of course the power delivery is going to be different, but you get the point. Even though counterintuitive, for overclocking, they may actually be a bit better, especially if you're going to be undervolting, because again, PCBs are not as strong as a top-of-the-line Asus card, but really for normal use case, they are exactly as good. So if you're going to be just undervolting it, which is what I recommend on the channel, and I have plenty of guides, by the way, you're going to see no performance difference at all. And at stock, you're going to see no performance difference. Matter of fact, they boost a bit higher sometimes. So at this point, one last thing, known issues, which is what I cover always with those brands. And now, Manli, as far as I know, doesn't even have the fan issues which Inno3D has had, because they use a different fan. And so, as far as I know, at least on the RTX 3000 and 4000 series, there are no known issues for this brand so far. Again, there is the odd card which needs RMA, but that happens in all brands. So it's probably the most positive review I've done so far of unknown brands, because it gets my full recommendation if you like the green aesthetics. And if you don't like it, well, now they make white cards, so when those will become available on the used market, you may want to look for them. Again, the only thing I'd say is if you're buying it brand new in Europe or in the US, make sure it is properly supported with warranty, and if it's not, maybe buy another brand. But if you're buying it used, 100% recommended. But let me know down below if you've had one. I'm also trying to use those videos as like a resource for you guys. I know my channel is small. By the way, drop a like and subscribe if you want to make it a bit bigger. But I want to use this as like a little community to talk about the good and bad of those cars. In the past videos, it worked quite well because people told me things I didn't know actually. So if you do have anything which I haven't mentioned about Manli or Gallardo, just drop a comment down below. Let me know. It helps me and it helps anybody who is trying to buy one to avoid any potential problems. And I hope to see you guys in another video as well on the channel. Bye bye.